Apple released a brand new aluminum laptop starting at $599. To hit that price tag, Apple did something they haven't done before in a Mac. They pulled the A18 Pro, the exact same silicon used in the iPhone 16 Pro, and dropped it straight into a laptop chassis. The A18 Pro is a mobile system on a chip designed by Apple, featuring a 6-core processor built specifically for high efficiency in smartphones. This raises an immediate question. Is a computer powered by a smartphone brain actually a capable premium device, or are you just buying a compromised, oversized phone bound for the e-waste bin? Historically, the $600 laptop market has been a race to the bottom. Buyers expect dim screens, flexible plastic chassis, and loud cooling fans just to hit that price. This chart plots price against premium build quality. Typical Windows alternatives cluster tightly in the bottom left, cheap to buy, feeling cheap to touch. Then we plot the MacBook Neo. It lands in an empty quadrant, low price paired with high-end recycled aluminum construction. So we are going to look strictly at the hardware limits of this machine. By mapping exactly what this chip and chassis can and cannot do, we can determine who will hit a wall and who will thrive. Ultimately, the Neo forces a very specific trade-off. You are exchanging invisible processing overhead for highly visible, tactile hardware quality. The computational engine inside the Neo is the A18 Pro, equipped with a 6-core CPU. To understand how this feels to use, we look at single-core performance. This metric measures the speed of one individual processing unit handling basic, momentary tasks. This bar chart compares single-core benchmark scores. The MacBook Neo scores 3,535 in Geekbench 6. By dominating competitors and the older M1 chip, the Neo ensures launching apps and loading web pages feels instantly responsive. But everyday responsiveness is only half the equation. Multi-core performance measures how all cores work together for heavy workloads. Looking at multi-core scores, the reality of a 6-core chip becomes clear. The Neo falls significantly behind the 14-core Dell 14 Plus. If you render 4K video, compile a large Xcode project, or batch export high-resolution RAW photos, you will hit this bottleneck immediately. Because the Neo has no cooling fan, the system manages heat by deliberately slowing down the processor during these sustained loads, a process known as thermal throttling. The result is a machine that is exceptionally fast for momentary bursts, but functionally collapses under the weight of sustained heavy processing. The second major compromise is memory. The base model Neo comes with 8 GB of unified memory, and it cannot be upgraded after purchase. Unified memory is a design where the CPU and graphics processor share the exact same pool of high-speed RAM, rather than separating them. Apple relies on macOS memory compression to make this work. For basic, single-app tasks like writing a document or checking email, the operating system manages this 8 GB pool highly efficiently. However, every system has a breaking point. When you push past available memory, the system uses the storage drive as overflow, which is drastically slower. If you open 50 browser tabs while simultaneously trying to edit a complex project in Adobe Creative Cloud, the machine will stutter and lag as it aggressively swaps data back and forth. Moving outside the chassis, we find severe input and output constraints. Specifically, one of the 2 USB-C ports is limited strictly to USB 2.0 speeds. USB 2.0 is an older data transfer standard that caps out at 480 megabits per second. Look at this scorecard of features. With USB 2.0, backing up large video files will take several minutes instead of seconds. Furthermore, Apple removed the keyboard backlight, an unapologetic cost-saving measure that eliminates an industry-standard feature. Apple hit their target price strictly by eliminating hardware future-proofing, cementing the Neo as a device with a hard-defined functional ceiling. If you are willing to accept those internal hardware sacrifices, you do get a set of tangible daily benefits in return. The Neo uses a 100% recycled aluminum unibody design. This metal construction provides structural rigidity that prevents the keyboard deck from flexing while you type. When you compare this directly against the plastic shells of similarly priced Windows laptops, the difference in physical presence is obvious. The plastic alternatives frequently suffer from creaking hinges and warped edges over time. The use of a smartphone chip also delivers extreme power efficiency. The A18 Pro is designed to run on a tiny phone battery, so putting it into a laptop chassis changes the power dynamics completely. Comparing the Neo against average $600 Windows laptops, it delivers over 13 hours of battery life and hits an incredibly bright 452 nits. For mobile users, a readable screen in sunlight and all-day battery far outweigh raw multi-core speed. You are trading invisible processing overhead you might never use for highly visible tactile durability and longevity that you interact with every single day. Evaluating the MacBook Neo means we have to abandon simple labels like good or bad. It requires strict scenario matching. Your decision to buy this machine should be based entirely on identifying the primary bottleneck in your daily workflow. This decision tree illustrates the framework. If your bottleneck is raw power and expansion, you fit the power user persona. Editing video, compiling code, or heavy multitasking hits the Neo's wall of 8 GB of RAM and limited ports immediately. For this demographic, you are much better off purchasing a refurbished Mac with an M-series chip, or investing in a $1,000 Windows PC that offers upgradable memory and dedicated graphics. On the other hand, we have the casual user and student persona. Following the right branch of the flowchart, we see users whose workflows rely on web-based applications, word processing, and media consumption. This is the Neo's exact target demographic. Users fully leverage the silent operation, the premium aluminum build, and all-day battery life, while remaining completely unaffected by lacking multi-core processing power. Factoring in Apple's education discount, which drops the price to $499 for students, the value proposition easily eclipses entry-level Chromebooks and budget Windows machines. The smartest technological investment isn't always buying the most powerful machine. It's purchasing the exact amount of hardware required for your specific reality, no more and no less.